Okay, this video is going to be how I achieved 3,500 Irating in about a month. Also on Iracing, obviously I wasn't a complete beginner when I started. I used to play LMU, and before that I played ACC and AC, and it sort of went in that order. So ACC, I started on AC, moved to ACC, then LMU, and then Iracing. So I'm going to give you a few tips, if I may. The first big tip I have is use your damn telemetry. This thing is so useful. You don't need Track Titan. You need this. It's free, and it works like a charm. It works as good, if not better, than Track Titan. So I don't see why you don't have why some people don't have this, especially if you're starting out. If you're a bit more serious, maybe you can maybe you can go for Track Titan and pay for the subscription, or you could do Garage 61. Pay for the subscription, which I think it'll eventually do. I think it'll give you a bit more. I think it gives you a bit more reference laps and stuff like that. So right now I've been doing this series. It's a B series. It's the prototype fixed series. It's pretty good. I'd recommend it once you get to B license. But anyway, how do you start from rookies? So my suggestion is start with the MX5s. The reason why is because you learn so much about weight transfer and trail braking, because the car's really touchy when you initially trail brake, and you sort of use that really pointy front end on the initial trail brake to turn the car, and that gives you so much more control when you're later on into the service and you start to try maybe GT4s, GT3s. So what I did is I went from the Mazda MX-5, then I went to GT4, which is amazing. The Mercedes AMG GT4 in particular is the only one I've tried, but it's amazing. This car, the GT4 really teaches you a lot about weight transfer, and especially with the Mercedes, it needs to be broke initially. So when you hit the brake pedal initially, you need to brake in a straight line. You need to have the steering as straight as possible. Make sure you have no weight transfer from side to side initially on the brake pedal. Obviously you trail brake afterwards, but initially on the brake pedal, that teaches you a lot about weight transfer. I went to the Ligia P3, LMP3. It's a great car, really teaches you about the finesse of trail braking, and also a big tip that I can share. This is revolutionary. If you master this, I'd say D series, even C and B, you will be so far ahead of the game. It's actually unreal. Obviously in B series and sometimes C, you have people that A license, which are like 9k I rating, which obviously will most likely beat you unless you're some sort of Max Verstappen, but you can get pretty close, when I did the LMP3, I was only at 2/10 off a 9k I rater that only does LMP3, and I only played it for a few weeks, So the secret is, so when we turn, we don't want to use all the maximum steering lock initially, and I mean that I can't emphasize that enough. So the maximum steering lock, let's say this is our steering wheel here. Oh, that is a dreadful steering wheel. Okay, that's our steering wheel. Let's say right here is our maximum useful steering lock, and what that means is when we steer more than this, we're not going to get any more rotation. It's just unneeded scrubbing of the tyres. You'll probably even get less rotation of the car, because you're overworking the front tyres. You're going to overheat them very fast, and the next couple of corners will also give you more understeer. So to fix this is the biggest mistake I see of new people, and I did this for about a week straight until I looked on telemetry, which is why I recommend telemetry, because you can see so much. You can see if you're turning too much within corners. Let's say this one. Let's say we're turning too much. I will get back to what I've just tried to explain. Okay, so let's look. So that's my lap, 22.753. Let's just remove this one. Analyze. Okay, so to this guy, we lose 2/10 in sector 2. Okay, our steering lock is pretty similar throughout the corners, but an extreme example might be, so you use like 10 degrees more steering lock than someone else with a faster lap, and you lose time on that corner. you will have more understeer for that corner, especially if you're already trail braking. If you trail brake, let's just say this is our brake bar that we see in iRacing. If we trail brake with a lot of steering knot, let's say we're here right now, our maximum, here, our maximum useful steering lock, and we're trail braking, you will actually understeer a lot more than if you used, let's say, 5 to 6 degrees less steering lock. This is like a magic trick in D series. Give it a try. When you especially try it on P1 or try it on Piff Path in on Spa, because those are very long and for high speed corners. Let's just go to this lap. Okay, so I'm going to show you what Piff Path is, because some people don't know the names of corners, which is totally understandable. So Piff Path is this corner, down into Stavelone, and you have Blanchimont up here. So try less steering lock than what you'd normally do. As you can see here, I used so much steering lock. This is my personal best lap, but I think if I used less steering lock, it would have been a lot faster, because we're going to gain rotation. It's a very difficult feeling to explain, but once you do it once, you'll instantly know what I mean. You get more slip angle. It's more of a neutral steer at this point. This works especially with lower downforce cars like GT3s, GT4s, Mazdas. You know, it definitely works. It's proven. If you turn in with less steering lock at the same speed, and you get more rotation, you know you're doing something right, 100%. Because you're now you're not scrubbing the front tyres as much, as it's especially useful for later races when you get into longer races like the IMSA A series, because those are 35 minute races. I think one of them's 45 minutes if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 45 minutes is the open series. So I'd recommend, so go like this. This is what I should recommend in chronological order: Mazda, GT4, LMP3, GT3, then Acura. Or you could skip the GT3 and go to LMP2. Actually, no, you can't, because they removed the LMP2 fixed series, which is just stupid, in my opinion, because it's really good. Oh, well, I'm a member for 2 months now, so I'll change the title to how to gain 3.5k Irating in 2 months. And another tip is just to race clean, or cleaner. It's okay to start from like P5, P6, but if you don't defend your position with your life at the start, people make stupid moves, especially in on some racetracks. I think Hockenheim is pretty bad, because you have that massive hairpin after the long straight. So people just make stupid moves, just concede the spot. It's one place. Sometimes if you don't and they just go into you and it's their fault, then you lose all your positions, and then you have a massive dip in your R rating, which is what I had for quite a while actually, because I just was too aggressive. I don't know why it's saying that, man. So I'm not a rookie license, I'm B license at 3.99, 0.001%, 0.01 away from A. But anyway, so a lot of people just make stupid moves, just concede the spot. It's one place, and you can always get it back, because if you've qualified ahead of them, you're most likely going to be faster than them in the race. So it's completely fine to concede a spot. I sometimes do this stupid mistake still, where I think, I don't want to get this. You have some serious feelings towards another person on the racetrack when they're trying to overtake you, or you're trying to overtake them. I mean, you just think they're the worst person in the world, but they're not. Realistically, they're just the average person. So just concede the spot. Another thing I can recommend. Obviously, I've done quite a lot of races since I've started. Let's see how many. I've done 66 starts so far. The average finish is P6, which is pretty decent considering some DNFs and stuff like that. So 2024 was very successful for me. We can see in the Sebring right now, I progressively got better as time went on with Sebring. I was finishing P2 podiums, but at first, I think maybe here, finished P12, and it's still +5 I rating though, so you can see that you can still qualify pretty low, and you can still gain. It's not like, oh, I qualified, on midfield, and now I'm going to lose points, and now I need to drive like a maniac to make up for it. especially when you're on a high strength of field, which is above your I rating. It's honestly just worth it to play it safe because the people in front, there's going to be crashes, especially in sim racing. No one's very clean, realistically. But there was a few races where I just DNF'd. Yeah, here we go. You know, that's a big loss. 0.17 safety rating, minus 89 I rating. That's a big loss. I think at one point I was down 2.9 I rating, which is like a few days ago. So how did I gain so much points in just a span of 3 days? It's, as I said, just I focused on practice. Practice is it's so useful, especially for sim racing, because you can have infinite hours before a race, right? And you gain an advantage from that, obviously, because when you practice, you see new lines, you spot new things, but that practice has to be actual productive practice. Practice can't just be trying the same thing over and over. There's a famous quote from Einstein when he said, "A man that tries the same thing and expects a different result, he will go crazy." And that is so true, especially for sim racing. You can't just try the same thing for every corner and expect a different result. You need to be actively looking for time. A big recommendation would be join a league. I haven't done this, and race with better players, because if you race with better people, you're naturally going to get better yourself, because you can even share telemetry with each other. You could share lines, you could follow someone, see their lines, see what they're doing. It's so useful to join a league and race with better people. So even if you are in a high strength of field, even in just normal host official series, don't be hit disheartened that you're not there yet. I mean, I'm not there yet. It's not like I'm not speaking to say that I'm there, you're not, but it's good to race with people that are better. Another big thing that I can recommend is just stay out of trouble. I've already said it, but just stay out of trouble. Finish consistently. You will gradually progress as long as you're looking at telemetry. Track guides that I make, for example, track guides, it's a tough one to really explain. They are useful to a point. If you're a few tenths away from a track guide lap, or even like half a second, you will not notice, really. You won't really notice what they're doing differently, because it could just be a few less or more degrees of steering lock, probably less, if anything. And they gain time. They gain a lot more time than you. If it's like a tenth for each corner, especially when you're like a second, maybe half a second away from a lap, it's not going to be one corner where you lose the most time. Most likely, it's going to be all the corners, but just a few hundredths. So how are you going to spot that when you watch a track guide? So the best way, what you can do, is just use telemetry. It is so obvious, because if we add a lap, it's so easy to see where we lose time. Let's just see. I don't think. No, there's not a faster lap. Well, actually, let's just see. Let's analyze, add laps. Okay, let's see where he lose time against me. So sector 1, he was a lot more up than me, to be fair. I respect that. Yeah, he uses more steering lock into turn 1. Higher initial peak pressure. See, we can see all this stuff, but if we watch the track guides, we wouldn't be able to. So let's look where he lost time here. So looking at throttle, yeah, so he was a bit nervous coming back onto the throttle, which probably lost him time. He broke a bit too hard for lay calm, which made him have a lower minimum speed than me, and then a worse exit, compromised exit. We can see so much more. Oh, and here we go. We can see a major correction that he made during Bruxelles. A major correction on his brake, as you can see here. A massive correction, which cost him time. But if you watch a track guide, you wouldn't really know. And this, here's a perfect example. Here we go. This is what I've been trying to talk about. Look how much steering lock he used compared to me. I was at 30 degrees. He was at 67. It's almost double the steering lock that I'm using, and you can see the amount of time that he lost here on this corner. If we look at speed, and if we look at the time, he lost. Let's see, he was at 0.16. he lost a tenth just in that corner by using too much steering lock. But if we looked at a track guide, we might not be able to spot that, and this is the point that I'm trying to get across. Don't just use track guides as references, use telemetry. It's the most important thing that you can use. But that's how I did it personally. I'm going to end this video because it's going to be too long, but I hope this helps, obviously. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see me do, I will be glad to do it. I'll be glad to take suggestions. I'm going to keep doing the track guides, but I'm going to add more. I'm going to add telemetry onto it because it's just way more useful for you guys. I mean, just the track guides alone it's not very. It's not the most useful. They're very good if you're trying to learn a new circuit. Maybe you're losing a lot of time on a circuit, you don't know lines, then of course track guide's very helpful. It's always good if you're trying to learn a new circuit, you sort of watch the track guide before you learn a new circuit, and then you drive it for yourself and you sort of already have a general gist of it. So it's quite useful. It can, yeah. But that's enough of me waffling. Thank you for watching.